Last night your body lay still in the dark, but you were somewhere else entirely. Maybe you were flying. Maybe you were back in a house you haven't lived in for 20 years. Maybe you were being chased by something you couldn't see or talking to someone who died a long time ago. And then your alarm went off, the whole world dissolved, and within minutes you could barely remember any of it. Every single night your brain builds an entire universe and then quietly tears it down before breakfast. The strangest part is that science still cannot fully explain why. We spend about a third of our lives asleep and a good chunk of that dreaming. That is years of your life spent in a place with no rules, where the dead are alive, where you can breathe underwater, where the impossible feels completely normal. If dreams were useless, evolution should have deleted them a long time ago. It didn't, which means they are almost certainly doing something important. The question is what? Let me start by clearing up the biggest myth. Dreams are not random noise. For a long time, people assumed dreaming was just static, meaningless sparks from a sleeping brain. But the more researchers look, the less random it appears. Your dreams pull from your real memories, your real worries, the faces you saw that day, and the ones you've carried for decades. That is not chaos. That is your mind working with material that matters to you. So here's a question to hold on to as we go. If your brain could rest completely at night, why does it instead choose to stay awake in secret and put on a show just for you? One of the leading ideas is that dreams help you file away memories. During deep sleep, your brain appears to replay pieces of your day, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Think of it like a librarian working the night shift. While you're unconscious, some part of you is sorting the day's experiences, moving the important ones into long-term storage, and quietly discarding the clutter. Dreams might be what it looks like when that sorting spills over into your awareness, fragments of memory getting shuffled and stitched into strange new scenes. But memory is only part of the story, because dreams don't feel like filing. They feel emotional. And that points to a second big idea, maybe the most human one. Dreams may be how we process our feelings. During dreaming sleep, the emotional centers of the brain are highly active, while the chemical linked to stress drops to some of its lowest levels of the entire day. So you get to re-experience difficult events, but in a calmer chemical environment. It's almost like overnight therapy. You revisit the hard thing in a safer state, and some of the emotional sting gets turned down while the memory itself is kept. That may be why, after a good night's sleep, yesterday's crisis often feels a little smaller. Now, here's the reframe I find genuinely beautiful. That nightmare you hate, the anxious dream where you're unprepared for an exam or falling from somewhere high, might not be your brain malfunctioning. It might be your brain rehearsing. One theory suggests dreams are a kind of threat simulator, a safe virtual space where you get to practice facing danger without any real risk. Your ancestors may have dreamed of predators and rivals the way we now dream of missed flights and public embarrassment. The stage changes. The function stays. You're running drills for waking life while your body rests. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed that your worst dreams tend to show up during your most stressful weeks? That's not a coincidence. That's the simulator running overtime, because there's more for it to work through. There's a fourth idea too, and it's more playful. Some researchers think dreams are where creativity gets to run wild. When you sleep, the strict logical part of your brain relaxes its grip, and looser, more associative thinking takes over. That's why dreams can connect things that have no business being connected, and why so many artists, scientists, and inventors have credited dreams with solving problems they were stuck on all day. Freed from logic, your mind finds links your waking self would never dare to make. Dreaming might be your most creative state, and you get it for free every night. So which theory is correct? Here's the honest answer. And it's more interesting than picking one. Dreams probably do all of these things at once. Filing memories, processing emotion, rehearsing threats, sparking creativity. Your brain is efficient. It's not going to build an entire nightly simulation to do just one job. Dreaming may be several essential processes happening in the same strange, vivid space. Now let's talk about the part everyone wonders about. Why do you forget them so fast? You can have the most vivid, detailed, emotional adventure of your life, and 30 seconds after waking, it's gone like smoke. The likely reason is chemistry. The brain state that helps you form and store new memories is largely switched off while you dream. So in a sense, you're not really supposed to remember most of them. The dreams that survive are usually the ones you woke up in the middle of, which is why the vivid ones you recall are often the ones that jolted you awake. And what about recurring dreams, the same scene or the same fear returning again and again? Many people find that these tend to circle around an unresolved feeling or a stress that hasn't been dealt with. It's as if the mind keeps reopening the same file because the matter is still in some way unfinished. When the underlying feeling finally shifts in waking life, the recurring dream often quietly stops on its own. Here's what I want you to take from all of this. Your dreams are not a glitch. They are one of the most sophisticated things your mind does, and it does them for you every night without being asked. While you sleep, some part of you is tending to your memories, softening your hardest emotions, preparing you for tomorrow, and playing with ideas your daytime self is too careful to touch. You wake up feeling like nothing happened. In truth, an enormous amount of quiet, invisible work just got done. So maybe the better question isn't why we dream. Maybe it's what your dreams have been trying to work through lately while you weren't looking. Because if the anxious dreams show up in the hard weeks and the recurring ones circle the unfinished feelings, then your dreams might be one of the most honest mirrors you have. They show you what's really on your